Welcome guys, so PUBG Mobile nerfed the DP-28 in the recent updates. And now it's slightly less powerful than before. So in this video I will show you what changes were made to DP-28 and it can affect your overall gameplay. Anyway, if we look at 1.7 patch updates on PUBG Mobile websites, it mentioned that they have reduced bullet speed, reduced damage of long range and reduced headshot damage. All these changes are a big deal for DP-28, but first take a look at the DP-28 damage information. I don't know if you guys know this already. If you don't know, previously DP and ARCANE damage are identical or same damage. Both guns deals exactly the same amount of damage, that's the reason why DP-28 is so powerful. However, the damage is reduced now. But don't worry, only the headshot damage is reduced and everything else remains the same. And if you're wondering, the headshot damage is reduced by 4.4%, which takes to 110 to 105. So now the new headshot damage is 105, which is identical to barrel's headshot damage. In my opinion, 4.4% less headshot damage is not a big deal, but sometimes it could be a big deal. However, you still getting the same body damage as an ARCANE, and barrel headshot damage is better as you think. You can still one-shot kill someone without helmet just like ARCANE, however in a long range there could be a huge difference, especially when PUBG mentioned that they have reduced damage in long range. So I made a few tests to figure out how much damage you reduce in long range, and for every 100 meter you lose approximately 8% of your overall damage. For example, if you shot someone at a 10 meter you will do 48 damage, and for the same shot at 100 meter you deal 44 damage, and similarly at 200 meters you will do 40 damage, and finally at 300 meters you will do 37 damage. I think 320 meters is the maximum render distance. After that, you can see your enemies but it doesn't render. So if you use DP-28 for long range, you can lose up to 23% of your damage depending on the distance. For example, M4 can lose up to 10% of damage over distance, whereas the DP can lose up to 23%. This will affect the way how you use DP. But you can solve this issue by hitting an extra shot or by connecting one more shot to the opponent. By the way, here is a side-by-side comparison of DP-28 damage drop while hitting an headshot in level 3 helmet. Now you must be wondering about the recoil, whether it is the same or there is a change as well. So here is a side-by-side comparison of old DP-28 recoil versus the new one. And by looking at this I will say it looks very similar and identical. However, you may say that new one has lots of horizontal recoil at this part. But you have to realize that this is totally random. Sometimes you get lucky and your spray behaves very similar, and sometimes it can go horizontally like this. So as far as I know the recoil is the same. Even the patch notes doesn't mention anything about recoil. So odds must be same as before. But the thing you need to be worried about is the bullet speed. The bullet speed or the bullet velocity is also the reason why the damage gets reduced over distance. However, I didn't measure the bullet speed before the update so I can compare it now. But one thing I can say is shooting enemies moving with DP-28 was a bit difficult, and now it's even more difficult due to slower bullet speed. Now to the final question, is this the end of DP-28 era? Well, I wouldn't say that DP-28 is still more powerful weapon in this game, but not as powerful as before. You can still use DP-28 as you used it as before, but due to the slight change in damage, it will require you to connect at least one more shot in order to make up nerf, such as low headshot damage and slower bullets velocity. This gun is still one of the best weapon from it till at long range fight, and obviously DP-28 works extremely well when you shooting at stable targets. But you will run into the problem when you try to hit an running enemy, or you have to do aim slightly at the ahead of the enemies and hope your bullets will hit, and spraying the vehicle is even more challenging. So the best way to use DP-28 against still or almost still targets. And I will highly recommend to pair the DP-28 with 5.56 assault rifle like M416 SCAR-L, etc. Try not to use DP-28 in close range as much as you can, but always remember that DP-28 is a machine gun, and machine guns are heavy, so they slow down your movement speed, and it could be a huge loss in close range fight, and lets you have no other choice, you can still use it, since this gives you a damage to body as an ARCANE. It could be powerful especially in early game, while fighting against no armor player, and the biggest tip is to use DP-28 while crouching when firing, because crouching can control the DP-28 recoil, and if you gone prone, you know that you can eliminate almost all the recoil, and if you are a gyroscope player I suggest to create a custom sensitive for DP-28 since it need to be stable while aiming so you could connect more headshots.
Try using low sensitivity because DP-28 doesn't have lots of recoil and especially when you fire by tap. Anyway, this all I tell through this video. I hope you enjoyed my video. If you didn't hit subscribe button, so subscribe my channel and don't forget to hit the like button.